Good evening, guys. Good evening once again. Welcome to South Africa Lately, a channel that discusses South African trending news. We do, however, grab here and there from international news when it is trending enough to be brought here. I promise you, if I knew a long time ago that political news can be this interesting, this entertaining, I could have been here long time ago. Anyway, Julius Malema has come out to say, you know what, he knew that Dali Mpofu was for MK. And even before the existence of MK, he proposed that they close shop and join whatever that former President Jacob Zuma was going to form. Imagine, before MK, he said in that meeting that was called by former President Jacob Zuma, when he called all the opposition parties, it was said that the EFF should close down and everybody should come and join what former President Jacob Zuma was to form. And Julius Malema said he didn't attend that meeting. However, Floyd Shivambu went with Marshall. But before you say I'm making this stuff up, please, I would like you to hear from Julius Malema himself. But before we do that, please do understand that I'm not a politician. I do not have deep knowledge in politics. However, I am a South African citizen who's also a voter, so I do believe that my views count when it comes to political affairs of this country. But more than anything, yay, politics are way too entertaining. Let us hear from Julius Malema himself.
You know what I like about Dali is that there was a meeting of the opposition parties which was called by Zuma. And I said, I'm not going. So I asked Floyd and Marshall to attend the SG. They went and Dali was there. Dali went to make a presentation of a paper in that first meeting where he said the EFF must close down with the other parties and then form something under Zuma's leadership. I mean, things happen the way they happen. I mean, Floyd and Marshall, you know him, he's just there and he speaks when it is necessary. But Floyd is the one who was leading the discussion. Who said, no ways, it's not going to happen, and all of that. And then he comes back extremely shocked that Dali is not only proposing it, he has written it down. He has had time to think about it and wrote it down. So I said, no, so then we agreed that we must meet, all parties must go consult their leadership, blah, blah. What is our position? I said, but that's madness, we can't do that. We closed the EFF to Zuma. Not one day, it was not even formed at that time. To what? Like, to do what? I don't understand. Then, perhaps Dali realizes they're not doing a good job. He comes himself to me when they were all there as the officials in the fifth floor. He says, no, he wants to see me. I said, no, sharp, come. But I knew what he was going to tell me, so I brought Floyd and I brought Marshall into the meeting. And then he said that. So I told him, no, it's not going to happen. I don't agree with that. And there's no EFF that is going to close shop. In his skillful way, you know, he said, okay, plus we're late now in the elections. Maybe after the elections we can engage about it again. I said, no problem. And then, again, Floyd and Marshall went back to the meeting to give their party structures a position. They came back and said to me, the president of ATM, Zungula, said, of all of us here, parties, the only party with a national footprint, which is properly established with machinery, is the EFF. Let's collapse this thing. Let's collapse all of us into the EFF. Olomisa was in that meeting. That president of the PAC was there. I don't know if Kanyos was there or what. They were all there. I still refuse. I said, I'm not going. I'm not part. I don't agree with that. And then that's what they said. Zungula is the one who said actually the EFF is the way. Then Zuma responded and said, no. Can you imagine an old person voting for EFF? These old people will never agree to vote for the EFF. And he told them the footprint of how if we come together we're going to get the votes from where and all of that. And then after the second meeting, we came back. Then they said, no, Zuma wants to see me. 4 eyes. I said, no problem, I'll go. Dali says he's going to come, but I already know what Dali is up to. So I bring Vuyan. I said, Vuyan, let's go together. No, when we entered the meeting, President Zuma asked me to stay in the meeting with him. And then Dali and some other Chabika, I can't remember what was his name, but he came to President Zuma's side and Vuyan asked them to excuse us so that we can have a discussion. So I remained with President Zuma. He started making that presentation. But Floyd told me that in the first meeting, Zuma addressed them for 3 hours. In the second meeting, it was relatively better. He addressed them for 2 hours. So I said, how do you allow that? I said, hey, we're thinking maybe General will stop him or something. Hey, but we sit there and just listen. I said, no problem. So when they said he wants to see me, 10-15 minutes into the discussion, I interjected him because at the back of my mind was like, you're not going to address me for 2 hours. It's not going to happen. Not 3 hours. I said, no, Baba, but I was thinking, you endorse the EFF. And then after endorsing the EFF, we'll have a proper discussion because we're now late, just on the eve of the elections. And then we can talk about what are the issues that you want us to take up in the immediate and all of that. And then he said, well, It's too late because I'm launching a party on the 16th of December. And I think we're like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before that. Hard luck. But let's take up this discussion after the elections. The meeting ended. If it took long, it's 20 minutes. We're done. And then we opened the door for those guys to come. Like, they were all like, so quick. I was like, no, we know what we want. Because it was not going to happen.
I have a question. Is Floyd a liar now? Or is Julius Malema lying? But I'm going to take the side of Julius Malema because he is the one that is taking a knock out of all this drama that is happening. There is something that Floyd Shivambu said in MZWANELE Mpofu's podcast. You know, he said they were wrongly, in the EFF, they were wrongly mobilized against former President Jacob Zuma. And Julius Malema was like, we did not get wrongly mobilized. Nobody mobilized us. But before we do that, before we hear from Julius Malema, just as a reminder, I would like you to hear from Floyd Shivambu himself in that MZWANELE Mpofu's podcast. Please let us hear from Floyd.
For some time, there was a period in the politics of South Africa where we were wrongly mobilized against President Zuma. Like to say, he's the most corrupt leader, the state capture, and all sorts of nonsensical characterization of the period where he was head of state and president. And we, of course, during that period, joined into the band, were gone and coincidentally joined by the establishment, and mostly by even the descendants of the settlers who got to go into the Zuma must fall nonsense that got to happen that time. Then we pushed for state capture inquiry. But you know, the most important thing, I was thinking about it now systematically, that my turning point about the whole perception was actually the inquiry itself on state capture. That
interesting.
Yeah, because
Julius Malema is like, no, nobody mobilized us. We were not mobilized, and I don't regret it. One thing that I've noticed about Julius Malema, he has his head upside down. You know, when I'm saying upside down, he has all the elements of please don't come for me. All the elements out to go crazy. But one thing, he's not a liar. I've noticed that Julius Malema is not a liar. Except for that incident. No, except for that incident. I think he regrets it. That incident of Naledi Pando. Politics, maybe he lied too. Maybe, let me just not say he's not a liar. Maybe he lied about other things. I just didn't pick it up. Anyway, I wanted to hear what Julius Malema is saying about what Floyd said, that they were wrongly mobilized. I would like you to hear what Julius Malema said.
I don't regret our position that which we took against President Zuma at the time. And this I asked Floyd if he thinks he has forgiven us for what we have done to him. I don't think he has forgiven us for that. And it doesn't matter, but we were not misled. We're not misled. Everything else we articulated, it was a correct position of the EFF, and it remains the correct position of the EFF. Having developed those positions around Zuma as the EFF, we now say this guy must now be our leader. We can't agree to that. So, and that's the thing I respect about Dali, because he has been open about it. He has been speaking about it, and one day, when I write a book, I will have a lot of stories to tell, even on how Dali became Zuma's lawyer on some of these matters. So this morning, when I woke up to the news, I was like, it is what it is. Yeah. So he has sent me a message. First, he sent me a message about the birthday of his daughter turning 21st. So I didn't respond because I could see what Dali was doing. So I knew if he sends me an invitation to a 21st birthday party, it means he has sent to everyone, which means we're all going to be united under Dali's leadership. And then he's going to project himself as this guy who brought all of them under one roof. So I said, no, I'm not responding because I'm not going there. And then he sent me now a text a few days after that he wants to see me urgently because he knows Parliament is in recess. He can come to the office, or I go to his house, or he comes to my house. I didn't respond. And because we're so used to this now, my wife says to me, he wants to say his goodbyes. No. I'm not good for goodbyes. So I'm fine. I don't want. So let him do what he wants to do. So we respect his decision, and there's nothing we can do about it. he has been there. I know of the work they've been doing. I know of the work he has been doing and all of that. So this has never been a shock to me. It was just about when is it about to happen. It's going to happen anytime, but he doesn't know when. So it eventually happened, and we're fine.
Yeah, that is Julius Malema saying that he knew everything about Dali Mpofu. He says he respects Dali Mpofu because he never hid anything. So the whole thing never came as a surprise. He also said he's going to write a book one day and say and talk about how Dali Mpofu became former President Jacob Zuma's lawyer. And also he's saying that, we could not be under the leadership of somebody that we once mobilized against him like that. And it was just not going to happen. So yeah, if you guys keep secrets. If I knew politics were this interesting, more than anything, as somebody that likes to laugh, I don't like harboring stress. I don't like. So some things, I find them very funny in politics. I am entertained now that I have this interest in politics. I find myself so super entertained. And sometimes I feel sorry for others, especially the ones I like. We all have our faves, especially the ones that I like, even though they drive me mad. But sometimes I feel pain for them. If you watched up to here, this is South Africa Lately, a channel that discusses South African trending news. We do, however, grab here and there from international news when it is trending enough to be brought here. I appreciate you watching my videos. I'll see you in the comment section. And if you can kindly watch all the ads in full, it really goes a long way. To those who are watching my ads in full, yes, the difference is showing. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Do have a good night.